Welcome to this workshop on overcoming overwhelm. If you're here, I am supposing that you struggle with overwhelm and that you are wanting to overcome it. And I'm supposing also that you are probably a mom. Well, I hope this information will work for others. I am a mom and I have struggled with overwhelm, and so that's specifically experience I can speak from. So I give you a warm and hearty welcome, and I pray that this workshop will be an encouragement for you and will help you, give you valuable tools for overcoming overwhelm. It's kind of a mouthful to say, but this special workshop is for moms of especially little children who are struggling with overwhelm. And so let's jump into the next part. If you don't know me previously or you're new to my videos, my name is Melinda Dwick. My husband and I and our 4 young children, we live in Costa Rica. It's beautiful here. I was born here, though I have lived some years in Canada. But this is our home country. And so I always dreamed of being a mom. I was the oldest of 4, and I always wished my mom could have more. And I've always dreamed of being a large family mom. But the truth is that once I had my own children, I had 4 in less than 6 years, which was my dream come true. But I struggled with overwhelm a lot, and I found myself many times not enjoying motherhood like I'd hoped I would, or like I dreamed I would, and struggling to find the joy because I was overwhelmed. That is the plain and simple truth. And so I've learned some things. I was struggling for answers to find the joy in motherhood again, and I have learned some things, and those are the things I want to share with you. But I'm still not always the mom I want to be. Just because I'm sharing this, it doesn't mean I'm a perfect mom. I'm sure many of you could teach me things, but I figured I could go ahead and share what I already know. We're growing in this journey together. I hope I will learn a lot more with time, and I'll continue to share what I've learned. But if you are struggling with overwhelm, I pray that this information would be of a tremendous encouragement for you. So basically, I want to share with you 5 tools or habits or mindsets or five things that I've learned that have helped me a lot that can help you when you are struggling with overwhelm. And they're not everything, they're not the full answer, but they have made a big difference in my life, and I know they can in yours too. So call them what you will. I hope these 5 tools, these 5 mindset tips, these 5 habits, these 5 whatever, I don't even know what to call them, that they will be a blessing and an encouragement to you and give you ideas for whatever you need. Rule number 1 is to learn from Jesus. And to learn from Jesus, we have to be learning from him. We have to be reading his word, hearing from him. And I don't want that to be a point of condemnation, because we do struggle with time sometimes in motherhood, but usually it's priorities that we have wrong. And we can learn from Jesus, and you can turn on audio Bible. You can find a bit of time to read some verses and just walk with God throughout your day and learn from him. That's kind of off the point, but learning from Jesus is, I remember wondering one time when I was overwhelmed, if Jesus really knew what it was like to be an overwhelmed mom. Did he have the answers? You know, we ask ourselves these things. Jesus was human and he walked on earth. And the truth is, the more I think of it, he had a bunch of disciples that were kind of like our children sometimes, probably. Didn't understand things, were probably annoying and immature, all that. So I think Jesus did sort of have the experience. But there were some things I thought of when I remember wrestling with this one with some of my babies when I was up at night. And that is that he did face burnout and needed time alone. I mean, he was God, but he was also human. He wanted time alone to pray, time apart. He would go with the disciples often to the mountain. In Matthew 14, 13 to 20, there's a story, or 13 to 23. I'm checking my notes here occasionally. There's a story about how he wanted to go and rest and pray, and the crowds followed him. And you know what Jesus said? He wanted to go alone with his disciples, but he saw the hungry people, and he said, feed them. And he fed them. He asked for food and divided it. Another time Jesus was tired and he was sleeping in the back of the boat, and his scared disciples came to wake him up. And he didn't just scold them and say, "Leave me alone." He did rebuke them, it says, but he rebuked the winds and the seas and calmed them down. He provided what they needed, even if he was tired and wanting to sleep. That story's in Mark 4:35 to 39. So we're human. We need sleep. We need food. We need rest. But just like Jesus, when our children need us, sometimes we have to put our needs aside and depend on God, depend on strength. Where did Jesus get his strength from? From his Father, I'm sure. We need to depend on God for our own needs to be met. Dishes, to-do lists can wait. If we have them, dishes that need to be done, it can wait. But our children, if they're hungry, if they are afraid and we're sleepy, they need us to be there for them. And God will be there for us and give us the strength. We just need to ask him for it. Just go to him. Because Jesus was the same. He wanted to rest, but he couldn't. And he found his strength in God. And Jesus is the real answer to the challenges of motherhood. So we need to sit at his feet and learn from him. And often it is just prioritizing. We think that we have so much to do we can't take time. But if you sit at his feet, he teaches you how to overcome. And I know I've failed in this, and I still sometimes fail. But my goal is to continue learning and to become the woman who Jesus wants me to be. And it's not the woman without struggles, but it's the woman who knows how to look to God in the overwhelm. Some of tool number 2 will kind of go with tool number 1, but it's shifting your mindset. And it's learning to control our thoughts. And instead of thinking, this is so hard and I can't do it, instead of being a victim of why are my children like this? Why is everything so hard for me? We should shift our mindset and think, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Sometimes the hardest work in motherhood is the mental work of taking our thoughts captive, of training our mind, shifting our mindset. I found that for myself. Sometimes physically I've been exhausted, but the hardest is in my mind. When you find yourself with lies such as lies from the devil, I can't do this, this is too hard, my children, if only things were different, I want to encourage you to start replacing those lies with truth from the Bible. Now maybe write it down in a notebook. Write down lies you believe, like, oh, this is too hard for me. Then the verse like I mentioned, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Other verses to other thoughts from the Bible. So when you're struggling, find yourself spiraling, my husband's late again, and so on, you can go to the truth of the Bible, the truth of God's word, and replace it. And that does something huge. Just instead of feeling sorry for myself, and I've struggled with that, I can start thinking, no, but here, I'm not a victim. I can go on by God's strength. Write things down on a paper if you need to have it handy, so that when you feel yourself spiraling, you can look at God's truth. We must know Jesus to know what the truth is. And so it's what I'm still learning, but keep learning from Jesus so that you can replace the lies the devil tries to tell us moms, because he wants us to be discouraged, because we have an important job of guiding our children to God. So he wants us to be discouraged. And so he does try to give us lies, but we need God's truth. Just like Jesus did when the devil was trying to feed him lies when he was tired and hungry after having fasted. He knew God and he replaced the lies with truth from the Bible. That's what we need to do too. I call it shifting our mindset, but it's taking thoughts captive. It's all of that. And so that is a big encouragement to you to make sure you do what you need to do to be able to be strong and brave. And we don't feel like it, but to replace lies with truth. That is my encouragement for you. Rule number 3 is to learn to say no. It's so simple, but it's so hard for some of us who like to do everything and help everyone. And I think that's why women like me who are trying to do everything and help are the ones who get overwhelmed. Women who don't have that, who are just happy with what they have and are doing, they don't struggle with overwhelm near as much, and that's our problem as some of us go-getters, and maybe most of us. But if you, like me, would like to help everyone and do everything, we need to learn to say no. And I'm learning it, and I'm still struggling. But when you're struggling with overwhelm, overwhelm means too much. And you need to cut out extras. Sometimes it's no to your own projects. Sometimes it's no to what other people are asking you to do. In a kind way, of course. You say, no, I can't do that. Sometimes it's no to so many things. Say no to physical things too in your house. Declutter. If you see things that are just learning to say no, I don't need that. Get it out of my house. Can help a lot with overwhelm, because overwhelm is because you have too much on your plate, overwhelming you. So if it's someone asking you, if it's your own project, if it's your clutter and mess, say no. And a big thing for many moms is we put too much in our mind with our phones, scrolling on our phones. I do it sometimes too, so I'll admit it's. And then we don't know why we're so overwhelmed, and it's because we've been getting information from all over the world from friends. It's not bad to follow to look on your phone sometimes, to follow along with some other people. There's a lot of encouragement we can get, and a lot of things I have learned. But my encouragement to you is, if you're struggling with overwhelm, try to cut out phone time. Put your phone away. Maybe look at it a bit in the morning if you need. Put it up high or in a drawer or something where you do not have to look at it. And you'll find the less you look at your phone, the less overwhelmed you'll be, I believe, because you won't be thinking about this problem, this world issue and that world issue, which we weren't meant to carry in our homes and makes us overwhelmed. So learn to say no to others when they ask you for something, if you need to, for overwhelm. It's of course good to help others, but your own to-do list, your own projects, oh, sometimes you just have to let them go. To clutter in your home and stuff, more stuff, someone wants to bring you something or ask if you want something, say no if you don't need it. And to overstimulation with our phones or whatever it is that is overstimulating us. Rule number 4 is a simple one that I've noticed sometimes, but lately just thought of it more. And that is, imagine who you want to be like. Now you want to be like Jesus, of course, and that is a high and worthy thing. But I want to take it to a different level. Think of the woman or the moms that you admire, who you would like to be like. For me, it's generally women with probably over 8 or 10 children. Those are the ones that say, I wish I could be like them. And I guarantee you none of them are perfect, but I'm sure many of them have learned things. And one thing that I found is, when I'm struggling with overwhelm and with snapping back to my children, if I think, how would this certain lady respond in my situation? I'm sure she probably sometimes loses her patience, but usually you can see that the woman you look up to, you see them in your mind responding calmly and patiently. And it helps you. It's a renewing of your mind, like Romans 12:2 says, but in a different way maybe than we often think of it. If you think of the happy mom someone else is and you want to be, I encourage you to smile at your children. Just you doing that will start training you to be that mom you want to be. Take some time maybe to write down the kind of mom you want to be. And every day, maybe when you get up, when you're praying and asking God for strength for the day, imagine that woman you want to be. And think of how she would respond. And sometimes we want to be like her, but we don't want to respond like she would, or do the things she would. She would put away her phone. She would smile at the spilled milk and laugh with her children and smile at her children when they enter the room. Well, try to do those things. It's hard work sometimes. I'll agree with you about that. Don't just spiral into negative thoughts. You have to renew your mind. Instead of just letting it go downhill, work on changing it. And with time, it will get easier. I assure you, it has happened to me that when I practice this kind of renewing mind and thinking of Jesus and how he would respond if Jesus was here and the pitcher of milk spilled, or the pot of beans, or whatever, how would he respond? And then try to respond the same. it is amazing what that can do for you if you're struggling with overwhelm. The final tip I want to share with you is don't struggle alone. This one I have come to realize, even if I thought for a while I was alone, I've always had some sort of support system. I've had my husband, I've had my mom, my mother-in-law, and a neighbor who's been able to help me. And when we don't struggle alone, when we look for help when we need, I'm not saying get out of your work and try to escape and get them to do things for you. But we do need others. We can't just live off of others. That's not right. But if you're really struggling with overwhelm, find someone who can help you. Something with cleaning. For me, having someone come in and clean my floors once a week has been huge. I have a neighbor who I can pay to do that. For me, and sometimes when this is another part of my story, I struggled with postpartum depression, I think it was, and I was afraid of hurting my children sometimes. So I would go with them all to my mother-in-law's house, just a kilometer down the road. That was a huge help. Or my mom did come over and help sometimes. Or I remember a time or two where I asked my husband to please come home from work because I was afraid of what I'd do to my children. I hope you don't have to go through that. But if you're struggling with that level of overwhelm, don't do it alone. For their sakes and for yours, find help. Find someone. I hope you have community around you. I hope you have help. And if you do not, that is where I want to say that I am here for you too. And I also want to share with you something else that I have that will teach you more of what I couldn't teach in this one simple class. I want to tell you a little bit about my course that I made. It's called Overwhelmed to Overcoming. And I made it exactly for moms like you to be able to give you lots of information and also to respect the time I've put into it and the resources that I'll be adding over time, more and more information. But I do want to be an encouragement to other moms, and so I put this course together to talk about all that I've learned in my journey of motherhood and in overcoming overwhelm. And it has so much more information than I could put into one workshop here. But it is my desire that if you want to go on to this course, it would be a course to help you overcome overwhelm and become the mom you want to be, full of joy and purpose in Christ, because we can't do it on our own. It's just a course of stuff put together, of steps that I've taken, of things I've learned. And I believe it would be an encouragement to you too and help you to become the mom you want to be. And so I encourage you to check it out. And to finish up, I just want to, either way, give you this encouragement. Motherhood is hard work, and it is very overwhelming. It can be very overwhelming. But there is grace and strength to be an overcoming mom. To learn to lean on Jesus and be courageous and find joy in motherhood, because that's in the end what we all want. We want to be a happy mom who enjoys motherhood. We maybe started off enjoying motherhood, but then lost the joy in the overwhelm, and we want to get it back. And if you have any more questions, if you need any more help, please feel welcome to join my course or message me or book a call, whatever you need. I hope that these tools will be able to be an encouragement for you. Remember that through Christ, you can become the overcoming woman you want to be, the overcoming mom. And so I pray that this will have been encouragement to you. And we'll see you in future emails or videos or in the course. Bye.